And joining us now, I'm really fired up. I love when he gets on Friday at 6:30 in the morning because you're up, you're raring to go. It's Friday. You know, a lot of other people live Friday. It's like, oh, it's, the last day of the week. Let's take it a little bit easy. Not Alfredo Ortiz, baby. He's up Friday. He's ready to go. 6:30, the president and CEO of the Job Creators Network, and he's with us now. Alfredo, great to have you, man.
Hey, John. Good morning. Thanks for that intro. I love being on your show.
I love the 6:30 on Friday because a lot of people on Friday, they just I used to work for a boss in a big company, and he used to say, I promote the executives, the young executives, and he told me this one time, I promote the young executives who get something done on Friday afternoon. I'll never forget that because everybody else is thinking about the weekend. And I was a young man at the time.
No,
and
that's
I took
great. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, well, look, there's Friday's usually a nice recap, too, for what's been going on in the week. And as always, this has been another busy week, and it's been actually a great couple of weeks with the economy. I know you were kind of tipping that off already, but, man, we're seeing some record numbers in terms of job growth still, wage growth. It's unbelievable.
Tell me a little about that as far as from your perspective. I mean, the job numbers have just been incredible. What are the Democrats going to run on in 2020?
Well, I mean, they obviously are going to have a hard time to try to run against the economy, right? So I think their big play is to make sure that the media, the liberal media, doesn't even talk about what's going on with the economy, which is just red hot. It continues to be red hot. Over 260,000 jobs were created this last report, John. I mean, just absolutely crushing expectations. It's just unbelievable. I mean, unemployment now really dropping to the lowest rate that it's been in 5 years. I mean, the last time we've seen these kinds of rates was when man walked in the moon in 1969. I mean, it's unbelievable. Hispanics, lowest unemployment rate ever, for example, recorded amongst Hispanics. And every single demographic group, quite frankly, are seeing these numbers. It's unbelievable. So how can the Democrats run against that? They're not. So what they're going to do is they're going to, keep talking about the Russia collusion. And we all know that the only collusion that's actually out there is really with the media and the Democrats. That's the only collusion that's really existed. But, they're not going to be able to talk against, the wage growth. I mean, for example, you hear all these fights, the fight for 15, for example. We just saw Bank of America, for example, recently announced $20 per hour starting wages with just a high school degree. I mean, we don't need these kinds of government efforts and government imposition, that the Democrats keep pushing. Of course, have the Green Raw deal that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, our favorite Democratic star that we love because she just is the gift that keeps on giving, right? But her and Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren, I mean, again, these ideas just keep becoming more radical, on the left, and it's just unbelievable. They just don't have anything really against us when it comes to the economy.
I want to talk a little bit about the the Democrats right now. It's almost unbelievable, Alfredo Ortiz. But you listen to them running for president, and it really is almost like you live in an alternative universe. And, of course, you got Joe Biden, who was doing the basically the Sergeant Schultz act from Hogan's Heroes. I know nothing. I mean, every time you ask him questions, he says, I'm going to have a speech on that sometime in the future. So he's just playing the don't say anything game. But you got these others basically going out there like Bernie Sanders and others and saying, well, the economy's not working for average people. How do you reconcile that with the fact that we have wage growth and basically zero unemployment in the United States? Who is it not working for?
Well, and that's the thing. Look, at the end is that they're just lies, right? I mean, that's the one thing that Democrats have basically no shame on, right? When they can't come up with the facts, they just lie. It's just that easy, right? I mean, we've always said, they're disingenuous, they're dangerous. Quite frankly, and in this particular case, they're duplicitous, right? Because they say one thing, but things really exist are completely different. You talk about the wage growth, for example. Last year, wage growth was 6.5% for the 10th percentile of workers with the lowest incomes. So that's about double the national average. And when you look at the number of Americans filing for first-time unemployment, for example, those first-time unemployment benefits, those have dropped to a 5-decade low again, 50-year low. Food stamp usage continues to decline. Disability claims are at historic lows. again, there are no facts to support their claims that things aren't working for the average person. They are working. Wage growth, again, continues to be record high. They even hit on the stock market, right? Oh, look, it's the fat cats, the rich cats. Do you know over 2/3 of Americans aged 30 to 64 own stocks? So when the stock market goes up, that's a great thing, right? Because the value of their pensions go up, their retirement accounts go up, their college savings accounts go up. All that goes up with when the stock market goes up. And that's important. And so we need to keep on pushing that and make sure that people understand it. Because I have to tell you, John, if it weren't for shows like you, this news wouldn't get out.
It wouldn't get out because if you look, Alfredo Ortiz, Job Creators Network, President CEO, with us. If you just listen to the fake news, legacy, lying media, they never cover this. I mean, they never tell you how great the economy is, and all they do is cover the Democrats saying, well, it's not good for everybody. It's like the second biggest lie. Remember, Alfredo, the first big lie the Democrats told after, of course, the Russian hoax was that the Trump tax cut was going to hurt middle America, right? And they said it for a year and a half. Over and over, and they had the media behind them, and they all lied about it. And then finally, people started doing their taxes, going to taxcutswork.com, doing the tables, as many of our listeners did, and understanding they paid enormously less taxes. And have you noticed since April 15th, there has not been one Democrat anywhere criticizing the Trump tax cut. It's like April 15th, they just stopped. Now they're doing the same thing with the economy. Right.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And, I have to tell you, in this one, John, though, the Republican Party didn't really do themselves a favor, though, either, on being able to properly talk about the benefits of the tax cut. I got to give them a little bit of a slam for that because they didn't do enough job, and we had too many people that were actually walking away from that message in the midterms. And those people lost. I have to tell you, because they walked away from the message that was a winning message and should continue to be a winning message all the way through 2020. The economy is red hot. I mean, and that's what makes the most sense. That's what we should be talking about. And they're even hitting President Trump now on trade in China and stuff like that. It's going to be disastrous. It's going to cause a recession. I mean, John, this was the exact time to do, and you and I have talked about this for months now about the trade. Basically realignment that President Trump is looking for with China. I mean, this was necessary. It was important. No president has had the will, basically, to stand up against China and do what's right here. And even the Democrats, quite frankly, many of the Democrats are supporting him on this because China is an issue, a major issue for our economy if we do not take it on right now. And President Trump decided to take this opportunity where he had really, really strong economic growth behind us, great unemployment numbers, right? Yeah, you know what? Maybe it's going to shave off 0.2, 0.3, maybe even 0.5% of GDP growth. But when you're already growing month over month, quarter over quarter, 3.2%, 3.3% growth, you can afford to take a little bit off that GDP. And, God bless, our farmers in the Midwest. I know that this has been a difficult thing for them. Some of our manufacturers have been a difficult thing for them. But this is short-term pain for very, very long-term gain, something the U.S. has had to do for years, hasn't had the will to do it, and this president has.
We're with Alfredo Ortiz. He's the president and CEO of the Job Creators Network. Alfredo, hang with us. We're live today at Colonial Downs at Rosie's Gaming Emporium, getting set for the Preakness tomorrow. Alfredo, I'm going to go to a quick word from our sponsors. When I get back, I want to talk a little bit more about the president's trade philosophy and another big lie that the Democrats and a lot of the feckless Republicans are buying into. I also want to talk about your new Billboard program, all that coming up on the John Fredericks Radio Network, and we are trucking the truth across America. Hi, folks. John Fredericks here. There are two big reasons why this country is so great. The first is our Constitution, which guarantees our freedoms of speech and expression. The second is our free market system, which has been the biggest creator of wealth and prosperity the world has ever known, lifting billions of people out of poverty. But socialism is on the rise in America. In fact, according to a recent survey, half of American millennials say they would prefer to live in a socialist country. This kind of thinking is what's driving policies like Medicare for All and AOC's Green New Deal. That's why the Job Creators Network, America's leading small business advocacy organization, is telling the truth about the horrors of socialism. Socialism robs people of their independence, their dignity, and their finances. To find out more, go to thegreenrawdeal.com. That's thegreenrawdeal.com. This message has been paid for and authorized by the Job Creators Network.
He's your Godzilla of the truth in America.
Run! It's Godzilla!
No gibberish or nonsense, just common sense. And now back to the John Fredericks Show.
Yeah, you got him back here with Alfredo Ortiz, President, CEO, Job Creators Network. And also, I just want to say one other thing very quickly. You can go to the greenrawdeal.com, greenrawdeal.com to get more information, or text Join JCN. Join JCN to 52888. I'm sorry, 52886. Join JCN. Text it to 52886, and you can get more information there. Alfredo Ortiz, tell us about your new Billboard campaign in North Carolina.
Yeah, thanks, John. The governor there decided to try to balance the budget, so to speak, in certain cases to be able to give teachers more salary, which, look, I love the idea of giving teachers more salary, but there's different ways of doing this. What they have out there is called the North Carolina Opportunity Scholarship. It gives students who participate in this program, who are awarded this program, $4,200 to be able to use for a private school of choice. And about 10,000 kids right now are benefiting from this program. The governor's decided basically he's going to do away with this. Because there's a lack of accountability is what he's calling on this. Well, parents who were actually receiving these scholarships were surveyed. 97% of those parents actually said that they approved and were happy, very happy with the program overall. And quite frankly, even for the state, it was a great savings because on average it costs the state about $9,500 per student to educate them per year. The scholarship is $4,200. Right, so there's actually even a net savings to the state overall for doing it this way. But again, the unions in North Carolina, the teachers' unions, I mean, the power that they possess is just obviously very real there. So we put up some billboards in North Carolina to protest this because, John, I'm not sure if you recall this, but growing up, I grew up poor, and I was able and blessed and fortunate enough to be able to break out of that through God's help and my mom's help when we were able to get a scholarship for me to go to a great school. I wouldn't have been able to do that if it hadn't been for that. So I can only imagine how these kids are feeling, 10,000 of them, who've had the same opportunity and benefit that I've had, that now potentially is going to be taken away from them. They're going to have to go back to the public schools when things are working for them right now. Why break something that's not broken? And again, it's heartbreaking for us. And so we decided this is something we wanted to highlight and take the governor on, and we'll just keep on doing it, and hopefully there'll be some change there in terms of his position.
I love what you're doing because you take it right to the people. Alfredo Ortiz, President and CEO of the Job Creators Network, and for more information, I want you to go to thegreenrawdeal.com, thegreenrawdeal.com, and learn about how stupid this thing is. But I love what you're doing, Alfredo, with the Job Creators Network because you're like, you got a little gang of people that go all over the United States. When you did the tax cut, you had a couple of RVs driving all over coast to coast. But what you do with just a handful of resources is unbelievable. And you take it right to the people. Like you're doing in North Carolina, you're doing by going on my radio show, and I see on Fox News and others. You take it right to the people, like you're doing with these billboards, and saying, hey, why are you denying kids in poverty an opportunity to get a better education in order to serve the education lobby? Like, why are you doing that, Governor?
Right, exactly.
That's why right?
Yeah, well, thank you, John, for that. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, John. But no, thank you. I mean, and you know what? We need to be doing more of that. I don't quite understand why our party refuses to take this approach, right? We should be taking this up to the people, right? And we should be making people aware of this. That's why, we need people to join Job Creators Network, right? Because we need more voices. John, you've been on a couple of these stops. You remember, you've seen what we do. I mean, we like highlighting, the heroes of our country, our small business owners. They're the backbone of our country. I mean, this is, primarily what we do. But things like this in North Carolina, we just can't just see it happen and not do anything about it. We've got to be able to speak out. Another big thing that we're, taking on really quickly, if I have 1 minute or two here,
Yes.
is our military spouses. There's a website we're also running called freedomtowork.com. We're trying to raise petitions on that, signatures for that petition. But this is to help our military spouses, where unemployment rate, I'm not sure many people realize this, almost 600+ thousand spouse militaries out there. Unemployment rate amongst them is about 28%, John, because the problem is, especially with those who have licensing issues, let's say a dental hygienist that moves around and follows their spouse, in many cases, the state-to-state requirements prevent them from actually taking that job in the state that they move. We got a great example on the website. Her name's Michelle Hood. Dental hygienist, has 18+ years of experience, got relocated with her husband when he came to the Pentagon. She had been working, I think, in the previous state for 14 months, I think, and Virginia needed a 15-month requirement. And so she didn't meet that, so they said, sorry, you're going to have to redo the whole testing. I mean, this is ridiculous, right? I mean, it's tough enough to be the family of military with everything that they have to deal with. This should not be one of them, right? We should be able to make sure that any spouse of any military, active military, that gets relocated and wants to work in their new community should be able to work day one. And that's another thing that we're fighting for. It's freedomtowork.com. This should be a no-brainer. This is a bipartisan issue. Everybody should be able to support this. We're pushing for that. We already have 8 governors as part of our governors committee that are working hard to try to put legislation in place. Governor Ducey actually has been leading the charge in Arizona. They've actually have occupational licensing reciprocity now across the board for everybody, which is great. We should be pushing for that. This is about time that all these bureaucratic licensing issues and requirements across from state to state come down, because it's just impeding our workforce.
Well, you got that right. And go to freedomtowork.com, freedomtowork.com. 28% of our military spouses and partners unemployed. Just not right what they go through.
It's not right.
And it's just not right. And it's because of these stupid licensing laws, no reciprocity. It's just ridiculous. Let's tear the barriers down, right? And that's been the whole mantra of Trump in this economy. Just get government bureaucracy out of the way so people can make a living, get a job, start a business, and try to live the American dream to the best of their choice. And that's it. Let's get them out of the way. And
amen, John. That's exactly what we're about.
Alfredo Ortiz. Okay, go to freedomtowork.com. Alfredo Ortiz, President, CEO, Job Creators Network. It's like a little engine that could. What they do with the resources they have is unbelievable. I mean, they're now carrying like national messages. And they were 100% the reason that tax cut went through, because so many Republicans, Alfredo, as you said, ran away from it in fear. Just like now, they're running away from the president's trade negotiated with China. They're all running away and hiding behind the Wall Street Journal or whatever they do. Thank you, Alfredo. Thanks for being with us, man.
Thank you, John. Have a great one. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.